Can we just maybe have a definition for ADHD? Like, I feel like there could be misconceptions about what really ADHD could be, or perhaps maybe there's different types of it. I don't know, but are you able to kind of define it for people?
Yeah, sure. There are different types. And so it stands for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And the two main types of ADHD, the first one is inattentive and the other is hyperactive or impulsive. So with inattentive ADHD, it's usually difficulty with maintaining focus on something, on one stimulus at a time, basically, which is why kids will have trouble listening to a teacher, but they'll be able to play a video game because that's many stimulus coming and going, so they can handle that better. But so it's basically, I would describe it as a difficulty with being able to, filter your attention. So, for example, rather than right now, you and I are probably filtering out some things. So I can, for example, I heard my dog bark before, but I can kind of hear that and rule it out and come back to you. Whereas kids with inattention would be focusing on all of those pieces of information coming into them. That makes it really difficult to learn at school. Sometimes have conversations with people as well. It can lead to disorganization and difficulty getting tasks done, so it can affect academics and also friendships. With the hyperactive impulsive type, it's usually more trouble with regulating behavior. So impulsivity means doing anything that comes to mind before you've had a chance to think through whether it's a good idea or not.
Right.
So calling out in class or getting out of your seat, things like that. And hyperactivity means just a much bigger or much higher level of movement and activity than other people.
Yeah.
So sometimes kids are described like they're kind of driven by a motor, like they actually have an inability to stop or to slow down.
Yeah. Do you think people use the term, like, is there, thank you for defining that, by the way, but do you I wonder if, because, we all sometimes lose focus. We could be focusing on something, we lose focus, or, you see that in kids. I imagine it's hard for parents to recognize whether there's actually something there or whether this is, like, how do you help parents determine that? And the other thing I was going to say, Leanne, is I don't know if you want to, because I notice the sun is hitting your face. So if you feel like you need to make any adjustments, feel free to do so. But
okay.
Yeah, in terms of like, how do you help parents identify whether their child does have ADHD or not? Otherwise, because kids' minds are naturally exploring different things, and they're sponges, and they're going to be exposed to different stimuli. It's natural, probably, for them to react to those things. So it's hard for parents to figure that out.
Yeah, it is. I should say too, while you were talking, I realized there's actually also a combined type of ADHD, so where kids have both of those things.
Okay.
So that's an important piece to not leave out for parents who this is new to. It's really hard, but I think sometimes, in our language, sometimes it becomes common to just kind of talk about difficulties as though we all might have it. Like, I'm sure you've heard the phrase like, oh, it's because, I've got OCD or things like that, where when we're neat.
Right.
I think that it's what I look for in kids is if those challenges are more than their peers have. That's not always easy for parents to know either, but psychologists can help and pediatricians can help you work that out. Because what we'll usually do is look for the behaviors that are happening and then compare that to what's typical for that age group. But I think the big part for me is that when the challenges are affecting somebody's ability to function or do those kind of day-to-day tasks. And I think if things aren't affecting your functioning, like you could be a bit impulsive or hyperactive, maybe like a real go-getter or really fun and engaging. It's almost like personality at that point. But when it starts to get to the point it's affecting you being able to do what what you want to do day to day or functioning. So like going to school and making friends and keeping friends, then that's a good, I think, guide for when it might be something that's outside the typical and you might need some extra help for it.
Yeah. Do we know what causes ADHD? Is this inherited? Are there environmental influences to causing ADHD? Or yeah, what does that look like?
Yeah, we do know it's very, very genetic. And so there's probably a tiny part that could be caused by things like an injury to the brain or something. Potentially some parts could be environmental, but chances are if the environment changes, then those symptoms will also improve. But
Mm-hmm.
it's over 95% of the cause is genetic.
Okay.
Yeah, if a child, it's actually, I mean, yeah, I was going to say, if a child has ADHD, chances are one of their parents will, and potentially one of their siblings as well. So
Yeah.
in my practice, it's very common for kids at the moment to be identified as having ADHD and then parents thinking, hey, hang on, I was just like that at school.
Mm.
And they go through the process and discover that they have ADHD.
Yeah. Can certain environmental factors exacerbate the symptoms of ADHD in any way? Like whether it be nutrition, whether it be I don't know, lack of sleep,
Mm.
or I don't know, even things like screen time, or I don't know, things like that.
Yeah, probably not screen time as much, but definitely things like sleep and some nutrition. I think particularly iron, which is interesting that when kids are low in iron, sometimes they have more challenging behaviors and irritability. And sometimes things like trauma, and when I'm talking about that, it's things like abuse or neglect can
Mm.
cause difficulties in regulation that really closely mimic ADHD.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
Uh,